Kacie Stephens is a small business owner in Australia.
But it certainly hasn't all been success. We let our businesses consume us. I wanted to make sure I had that work-life balance. My biggest support, the first thing I did was...
Wow, Kacie, welcome.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to have a conversation with me. And I'm super excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, Ruth.
Yeah. So, Kacie, I guess to get started, the first question I'd love to ask you is, how was your day yesterday?
My day yesterday was actually very much a me day. It was a me day because I started at the dentist. I had a dental checkup. I went to the hairdresser.
Yeah.
And I had to shop for my son's birthday today. So for a Wednesday for me, that was very much just about, I just checked out of work for the day. So that was really nice.
Wow, that is awesome. So I guess, being a small business owner, your day is probably very, should I say unpredictable?
Unpredictable, totally. And I think when I say I did that yesterday, my cleaning business has been running for 6 years now. And I feel like I've
Wow.
just sort of this year really been able to just take those days.
Yeah,
Whereas sort of the first 5 years of trying to build a business, maybe
yeah,
I'd get a hair appointment in, but I certainly wouldn't take a whole entire day off to go, okay, I'm going to the dentist, I'm getting my hair done. I got my nails
yeah.
done too. I forgot to mention that one. So yeah, I feel
Wow.
like only now that I'm really in that position to do that. But I mean, when I work really hard, but I really love checking out for a day every now and then.
Oh, good on you. Kacie, I like to rewind here
Mhm.
for a moment. And I think as a business owner or an entrepreneur, like we all have our stories, right? So
Yeah.
I am very keen to go back a little bit with you and what I like to call a backstory snapshots. Now, backstory snapshots are basically events or moments that have happened in your life when you were growing up in your early years. So I like to be able to go back and see if there's some sort of like a connection that you look back and you go, yep, that was those sort of moments happen and they have shaped me with my business. So what are your backstory snapshots?
All right. So I am definitely from a family of entrepreneurs. My mum has a business. Both my grandparents have businesses. My dad has a business. Even my grandpa's mum had businesses and all different things, not really related to each other.
Yeah.
But it's been in my family for generations that we have a business. And so I think seeing that from a really young age with my own parents and my grandparents, uh, I always loved the idea of having my own business. I mean, I've had jobs in the past. My first job was in a supermarket and I worked there for 7 years, but I was always looking at what the managers of the business were doing. I always knew that I wanted to be in a leadership role, that's for sure. And then it wasn't until my mid 20s that my partner
Yeah.
and I started a hospitality business together. And he's very similar to me in
Wow.
that regard. So we started a hospitality business and I've been self-employed since my mid-20s, but it certainly hasn't all been success.
Oh, wow. So there you go. I love this because you when I'm hearing your story, I'm thinking, wow, that really makes sense. And I
Yeah.
guess it probably didn't come as a surprise for you when you started, was it the Big Clean Co?
Yeah, that's right. So the Big Clean Co was the first business I'd ever done on my own. But like I said before that, I had hospitality businesses with my partner. The first one we started was actually a cafe. And we started that together when we had our second baby. And
Yeah.
we sold that after 18 months. And then we started a restaurant. And if I'm talking about periods in my life that have sort of created the way I run my business now, it would definitely be the experiences that I had with Chris, my partner, in the hospitality businesses as being only in my
Yeah.
20s. And we had a lot of outside of work related stresses at that time. And we
Yeah.
let our businesses consume us. So even though we
Yeah.
had children, it completely consumed our lives, our business. And that actually ended up failing. And the business is no longer open. So when I opened the Big Clean Co on my own, I went into it knowing that I didn't want my business to run my life. I didn't want it
Yeah.
to be the first thing in my life, especially having young kids. I wanted to make sure I had that work-life balance. And I think a lot of people start a business and they don't have that perspective when they start it. And a lot of people can let the business consume them.
Yeah.
And I certainly did that in the past. But with the Big Clean Co, I definitely run it very differently. It was sort of a pivotal moment for me opening the cleaning business
Yeah.
and running it how I do. Yeah. Does that make
Wow. So no, it makes sense. It really
Yeah.
makes sense. And I love what you said about the
Yeah.
work-life balance, because I can so relate, being a business owner
Yeah.
myself, it
Yeah.
can be a very tricky sort of
Absolutely.
thing to juggle, isn't it?
It
So,
really is.
yeah, so from then, when you moved from the hospitality to
Yeah.
start Big Clean Co, so were you very deliberate in thinking my
Yeah.
work-life balance, I have to
Yeah.
be very strict?
Yeah, I was. It was the first time I'd gone into a business with a really clear business plan of what I wanted it to look like in a year, what I wanted it to look
Yeah.
like in 5 years. And I mean, it's sort of, it's gone far beyond the goal that I ever set for myself. But
Yes.
I knew that I started this cleaning business and I was a solo cleaner. So I was just the only cleaner in the business when I opened it. But I had the
Yeah.
plan of how many employees I needed to employ to get to where I wanted the business to be. And that was
Yeah.
because of my children. I had 4 kids and they were all under 9 when I opened that business. So
Wow.
um, yeah, going into it knowing that I wasn't going to have to work all through school holidays forever, for instance. I knew how fast I needed to grow and where it
Yeah.
needed to be at each point to give me that freedom. And I mean, I probably still work a heck of a lot. Like my kids might might have a different opinion on how good my work-life balance is, but to me it's
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Oh, very good. And I guess having kids and running a business, it is
Yeah.
super, super tough. And I love what you said that, when you first started with the hospitality, you guys were so consumed.
Mm.
And then to, start in the Big Clean Co, you were very, very deliberate. And
Mhm.
I guess that's a lesson that all small business owners, like, we need to be very mindful because it can be so consuming. So I'm very, very impressed that your second go, you were so deliberate, you were so focused, and yeah, that is something that
Yeah.
a big takeaway that we need
Yeah,
to be
absolutely. It's
mindful of.
definitely something that I really try to share. You've seen my social media, and I try to share that with people, the other things that I
Yeah,
do that aren't just work, because it's so
yeah.
important to have that balance.
Yeah, very good. And I am very, I could tell when I first saw your social media. And I have to say, I have been a
Yeah,
big
beautiful.
fan of your products like
Love
for
it.
over a year.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
so when I wanted to do this, podcast, you
Mhm.
were the first person that popped into my head. I'm like, oh my goodness, I hope
Thank you.
Kacie says yes,
Yeah,
because I wanted you to be my first guest. I could tell, your passion really shines through, in social media when you're on Instagram, Facebook, and I even caught your YouTube as well. You are so passionate. And so, yeah, I'm just so happy. Yeah.
thank
So
you.
back on the note with what was that you said? Yeah. So work-life balance, you can probably
Mhm.
say tick on that. And
Yeah,
you said something about your how you wanted to employ people.
yeah.
So were you very deliberate
Mhm.
in choosing people for your team? Because I saw there was a beautiful uh, Instagram that Montana, one of your
Yeah,
staff,
she did.
did.
I finally got someone to get on social media with me. So Montana's in the office with me. So I've got a team of 25 cleaners who all work out doing their thing, cleaning houses. And then in the office, I have 2 full-time admin people. One does all of the Big Clean Co. Day-to-day managing, and then Montana does all of the for all things. So employing people, I actually really love it. And I think you have to
Yeah.
love it to do it, because
Yes.
a lot of business owners can get very resentful of their employees. I'm just going to sip my water.
It's okay.
Yeah, so a lot of employers, I notice, because I'm part of a lot of sort of business owner networking groups, especially in the cleaning industry. There's a few groups on Facebook that I'm involved in, and I notice this pattern with a lot of employers. They can get very resentful of their employees,
Yeah.
and employees are people. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes employers can put this label on them, like they're employees, they're an asset to the business, but these are
For
human
sure.
beings. And I really approach everyone who works in my business. They are a human being with their own
Yeah.
stuff going on outside of work. And so
Yeah.
if any of that stuff does come into my business,
Yeah.
I treat it in the whole big picture. My business is not working for my business is not their whole life. And
Yeah.
I think it's also important to remember that no one's going to work as hard as the business owner. And when you
Yes.
accept that, then you can create these relationships with people, whether they're in your business for a few months or a few years. I've had
Yeah.
the longest employee I've had was actually for 8 years. So she started in the restaurant that we opened, and then she continued over into the cleaning business. So I've employed
Yeah.
so many people for such different periods of time, and I love that part of it. I really do.
Wow. I did not know you had such a big team. That is
Yeah,
so
we do.
impressive,
Yeah,
Kacie.
thanks.
Good, good on you. And
Mm,
so yeah, so what I was saying about with Montana, I was just very
mm,
impressed with the way that she came across, and she was
yeah,
very,
she's great.
easy to connect to. And I thought, wow, Kacie has done really well choosing such a wonderful
Yeah.
person to join. But then what you've just said about how you treat your staff amazingly
Mhm,
well, that really speaks a lot about you. And
mm.
no wonder why I thought, wow, this
Yeah.
lady is amazing. So
Yeah. Well,
good
when
on you.
Montana came into the business, I try to not so much look at necessarily someone's past experience of what they've done, because this is
Yeah,
still essentially quite a small business and it's growing
yeah,
all the time. We've changed. Like what we are now is so different than what we were 12 months ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so when Montana came in for an interview, her attitude was, I just thought, like, that attitude, just whatever you can do, you have to work here.
yes.
The
Oh,
attitude
wow.
first, for sure.
Yes. Awesome. So, so your title was it Cleanfluencer, which
Cleanfluencer, I just love that
I
word.
like that. Did you come
Yeah.
up with that?
No, I didn't. I saw it somewhere in an article. I don't know, and I thought that is just the perfect name for us. Yeah. What
It's
I'm
a
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
think
it
I'm an
is just a
influencer. I'm
you
definitely a
go.
cleanfluencer. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So, on that note,
Mhm.
what sort of experiences do you want your, customers to experience when they use your product? I'm very interested to hear
I wanna make
what.
cleaning more enjoyable,
Yeah,
because I don't like cleaning myself. I
yeah,
don't necessarily enjoy cleaning certainly not my own house. It's very different when you go out and clean somebody else's house. But I don't
yes,
enjoy cleaning, so I wanted to make this product that was simple, easy to use once you know how to use it.
yeah,
Safe was really important, and smells beautiful as well. Those were just it had to be an experience, because cleaning can be such a chore. So I just wanted to try to
yes.
make it a little bit nicer for everyone. Mm.
Oh, that is beautiful. And yeah, definitely when I use it, and like I said, I've been using it for over a year, and it just really does everything. So how did you come up with the name For All? It's just
So
such
that
a
was actually my
great
partner Chris. So my partner, Chris, I have no idea how he knows this because he actually
Yeah.
dropped out of school in year 9. He was 14 years old when he left school. But somehow he knew that upside down A, the logo
Yeah.
is an upside down A, and
Yeah.
that the mathematical symbol that means for all. So you have the 2 lines for equals, you have the plus sign, you have the minus
Yeah.
sign. That one
Yeah.
there actually means for all. So because it is a product for all surfaces, when he
Yes.
told me that, I thought, yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's a product for all surfaces. So there you
I
go. It's
love
sort of a
it.
secret meaning. Nobody really knows that unless I tell them because
There you
who gets
go.
that
Now
shiny map? Yeah, there you
everyone's
go.
going to know about that. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Fantastic. All right. So let's just shift the conversation just a little bit, differently. When you told your family, right, and
Mhm.
friends that you were going to be doing, moving from, hospitality to your cleaning business, let's go to the family first. Were they
Mhm.
surprised or were they
Um,
like, it's
Definitely
all good?
not. Yeah, definitely not. So I was sort of having a bit of an existential crisis at that time because the business that we had it wasn't closed yet, it was failing. So Chris and I
Yeah.
actually separated for 3 whole years. So when I opened the Big Clean Co, I was a single mother with 4 young kids. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to do, I knew
Yeah.
I considered finishing a uni degree. I'm a university dropout. I've done almost all of an accounting degree, but I didn't finish it.
Yeah.
I considered
Yeah.
finishing my uni degree and then getting a job. But when the Big Clean Co idea came to me, I don't think anyone was surprised. I don't think so. I think it was always that
Yeah.
I was going to do something again, business wise, because I just love it. I really do. I love having a business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have to. If
And
you've got a business, you
yes,
have to love what you do. Yeah. You wouldn't do it otherwise, would you?
exactly. Because people can really see through, can't they? They can tell
Yeah.
whether somebody loves what they're doing or
Yeah.
they don't really love it. It's just,
Yeah.
for the money or whatever. But yeah, you definitely,
Yeah.
definitely have
I
that
do.
passion
Yeah.
that oozes through. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So do you get a lot of support from friends? I know your family, they've been
Mm.
supportive.
They have, well, when you have 4 children, when you have 2,
Hmm.
1 or 2, I feel like I got a lot of support then, but when you have 4, it's a whole nother kettle of fish. Like our family is big and quite chaotic. And I think that my biggest support in many ways has come from my almost 15-year-old daughter who,
Oh,
yeah, definitely. Definitely from
oh,
her, who was only 9 when I opened the cleaning business, but she's just such a mature, responsible kid. And
yeah.
so far, although she's about to hit 15, she hasn't given us any teenage trouble yet. And
Oh,
she really, especially helped out with her younger brothers. I think that would be my biggest appreciation of somebody, would
yeah.
definitely be her. Just, um, yeah, picking up, sort of becoming like a little mummy role.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, definitely.
Oh,
But when you say
beautiful.
friends, people have definitely supported the business. They have, like
Yeah.
my cleaning business cleans for a lot of friends' houses, and a lot of people have bought the product. But when you have a business, I think it's hard for anyone who doesn't have a business to know how they can. It's almost lonely, isn't it? Having a
Yeah.
business
Yes,
in
it
many
is.
ways. Like, yeah, you're almost, you go at it alone in many ways.
Yeah, you
Mm,
do. You do.
yeah,
I can definitely, relate because some friends may not quite understand,
yeah,
why you're working so hard because
that's
it's
right.
definitely
Mhm.
not a nine to
Yeah.
five, right,
It's
Kacie?
not, it's really not. That's right. Something happens, if I have a client cancel or somebody call in sick quite late the night before, whatever I'm
Yeah.
doing has to stop for me to sort that problem out. And since I've got a manager in the business now, I've kind of been able
Yeah.
to, like I said, 6 years of having the cleaning business, I've finally been able to step away from that role so
Yeah.
much, but in those early days, you're doing everything all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes. And so on that note, I like to go to the aspect, you said since, when you started, you were doing everything. So you
Mm,
obviously had to wear so many different hats,
absolutely. Mhm.
but now it's a bit different. So can you
Yeah.
tell me some of the different hats that you had to
Yeah.
wear at the beginning?
Yeah, it's everything. So you are the bookkeeper, you are
Yeah.
the person who's doing the roster and the scheduling, you're the salesperson, you're the accounts manager, you're sometimes a debt collector, you're the HR person. It's just
A
literally
lot.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I started employing an admin team,
All right, now quickly, if you are watching my channel, Small Business Owners Secrets to Success, and you have not subscribed yet, please can I ask you to subscribe and share, like and comment if you can do that, because it really, really helps me a lot, and it helps spread the word of how small business owners can be supported. So be sure to do that. And thank you once again. Back to the podcast.
just
A
literally
lot.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I started employing an admin team, the first thing I did was write down everything that I was doing and
Yeah.
then the jobs that I wanted to let go of. And so when I
Yes.
employed that first admin person, it was specifically for the jobs that I wanted to stop doing myself.
Smart woman.
Mm.
Very, very smart. Very, very good. Yeah, so it just makes sense because you cannot be wearing those hats forever.
Yeah,
So
you
good on you
can't.
for
Mhm.
making that move. And so do you find that yeah, like do you have like a team meeting, or do you do lots of like Skype, or is it face to
Yeah,
face? How
we
do you
do.
run
So
your
we have an office location, and in the office, we are all together for 3 days of the week.
yeah,
The other 2 days, everyone sort of works from home.
yeah,
But I think it's really important for us to be together for those 3 days because so much
yes,
happens when you're in the same room as somebody. If the days that we're working from home, there's kind of often that disconnection between people.
yeah,
So with the admin team, we're together a lot. And then
yeah.
with the cleaning staff, we try to do periodical catch ups, which are nice.
Okay.
But a
Yeah,
lot of the work that we do is over the phone with the cleaning staff because they're just all over Melbourne, really. And because everyone keeps their cleaning kit at home, they just go to
yeah,
the jobs from their house. So a lot of that does happen over the phone. But
yeah.
definitely for the office team, it's yeah, we're together a lot.
Oh, fantastic. And so this is a great way to go to the CRM you mentioned.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit more about your CRM?
Yeah, so that's about keeping all the customer notes. And
Yeah,
so we have all of our customers on file, and we're really starting to grow this now with For All. So we've got it
yeah,
down pat for the Big Clean Co. So it's our CRM contains all of the information about every client that we need to know so that
yeah,
whoever is dealing with a client knows exactly the history
yeah,
and can go into those conversations with the client with that background information. But now,
yeah,
because For All it's been 2 years since I started the product. So
yeah,
finally, with Montana's help, we're putting together our client files for people who have done repeat purchases. I'd
yeah.
never even realized that there are people who have ordered the product 11 and 12 times over the last 2 years. So
Wow.
now, as we start to get that CRM, so a CRM contains all of that information about your clients and your customers.
Yeah,
And once we have that, we can start ensuring that we're rewarding those repeat customers and thanking them and just yeah being able to reach out to them, let them know about we've got some new products coming out, so they'll be the first to know. And I think a CRM is important for any business that has customers and clients because you need it to keep all of that information that's so valuable
yeah.
about your customers.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to make a note of that because
Yeah.
when you were talking about it on YouTube, I was like, I love
Mhm.
that idea.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So you sell to consumers. Do you do like retail,
We
wholesale sort of?
don't. We don't do any stores. It's just
Yeah.
all direct to our customers. But what we do have is so many cleaning businesses. who
Yeah.
buy the product. So we've had over 10,000 customers, and
Wow.
numbers wise, the majority of them would just be everyday people just ordering it to clean their own house. But our
Yeah.
biggest repeat customers are definitely the cleaning businesses. And so
Yeah.
we're now starting to provide wholesale prices to those cleaning businesses, and also give them the opportunity to stock the product themselves. So
Oh,
I never
okay.
intentionally set out to have stockists. I had a couple of cleaning businesses ask me if they could stock it to sell as, additional income to their cleaning business. And so
Yeah.
I said yes to a couple. And as I've said yes to a couple, there's just more and more rolling in now. So I
Yeah.
haven't at all thought about doing retail stores. I think we're so comfortable at the moment with how it is. It's grown so
Yeah.
organically over the last 2 years.
Yes.
I'm sure maybe in the future we'll get to that point, but for now it's just direct to customers, which is great. I love
Well,
having that.
I love that because it gives you, I guess, that direct connection, right?
Right,
To
exactly,
your
exactly. And we've had some little hiccups in the past. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
not sure if you know about, we had the scent inconsistencies with the essential oils, and some of
Yeah.
the bottles that we sent out didn't smell right. And those
Okay.
kind of problems when you start a business, it's nice when those problems are small. So they were only just a handful of customers. And I
Yeah.
think if we had tried to go into any kind of retail stores and were
Yeah.
sending out thousands of bottles to shops and then had that
Yes.
problem, it would have just been the biggest disaster. But because we were just dealing with the customers directly, and someone would email and say, "Hey, my bottle
Yeah.
doesn't smell right." We were able to catch it early, fix it, send out replacements, and it didn't become such a big issue. So I've
Big
I've liked that
thing.
our issues so far have been quite small. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is, you could say
Yeah, I know.
lucky. Very, very good.
Yeah.
So, so Casey, when you were sourcing out your, I think you mentioned that you were able to get a local
Yeah.
chemist. Is that
Yeah, we
right?
did. Yeah, yeah, in
And
Melbourne. Yeah,
so
so
was that, tell me
we
about the
called around.
process.
We just Googled. We Googled, we had no idea. So it was Chris and I, he helped me get all of the setup done, because there's a lot of meetings that you need to go into. It's just a lot of work. And it was nice,
Yes.
although I'd done the big clean code completely on my own. Like I
Yeah.
said, we separated, we got back together after 3 years, and it was so
Yeah.
nice to have him to help me with that process, because you have
Yeah.
someone else that you can lean on a little. So we just called around to chemical manufacturers, just
Yeah.
asking what do you actually do? And then we found one. So we discovered that it was kind of small enough to want to deal with us. A lot of them,
Hmm.
the bigger companies, they want orders that are tens of thousands of liters. And I just wanted to
Yeah.
test it out. And I was wanting to test it out with just 2,500 liters to begin with. And so I
Yeah.
found this smaller manufacturer who sort of walked me through the process, which was really
Yeah.
nice. And they helped me formulate it. But I made a mistake that I would recommend anyone don't make. I didn't own the
Yeah.
formula. I didn't realize I was signing a
Oh,
contract that meant they own the formula. And so after we had those little issues with the scent, I decided to go to another manufacturer, and we
yeah.
reformulated it. We knew the ingredient list, so it wasn't too hard
Yeah.
for that chemist to pull it back apart, put it back
Yeah.
together. But I did it
Nice.
all in Melbourne, and I found that it was just very easy when you don't know anything about the process to be dealing
Yeah.
with manufacturers who are in the same city as you, because you can go to them.
Yes.
I know a lot of businesses. I also knew I wanted to keep it in Australia. That was really important to
Yes.
me.
I
I
love that.
didn't want to go overseas, and but I know a lot of people do, and that just felt way too scary for me. I thought, how do you
Mm.
order when you're so new to the industry like we were? It was nice to find those manufacturers in our own city. That's for sure.
Oh, very, very good. And there is just this very special thing about having, to say my products are made in
Yes,
Australia,
absolutely.
not
That's right.
from,
Yeah,
not from
that's
China or
right,
whatever. Not that there's
right,
anything wrong with it, but
right. We hear
keeping,
so much about the Australian manufacturing industry. All the
yeah,
businesses are closing, and it's so nice to be
yes,
able to support other Australian businesses throughout the process. So even our plastic bottles are made in
yeah,
Australia. which again is just a really rare thing because
Yeah.
businesses, I know that we could save a lot of money by going offshore,
Yeah.
but I love that it's made here. Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
important to me.
Definitely, definitely. I think, yeah, it's just really, really lovely. And because my small business is hair and skincare, and so whenever, like I go to markets or I am always like, shopping handmade or shopping locally, I just can't help myself.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I just really, really think it is very important. And like you said, a lot of small businesses are shutting down because,
Mhm.
they just can't keep up or
Yeah,
for
that's
different
right.
reasons.
Absolutely.
So if
Really
we
are.
can, yeah, if we
Yeah.
can support one another and just grow
Yes,
the
exactly.
economy, I am
Mhm.
all for that.
Me too. Yes.
Yeah. So, just a quick question. So, do you ever have you had moments in your business journey where you're like, oh my goodness, this is so overwhelming. How on earth am I going to do this? How on earth are we going to do this? Have you ever had moments like
Yes,
that?
absolutely. Especially in the big clean co, as when it was the lockdown, and that's when I started my social media accounts. So
Yeah.
I became, well, I had like 500,000 followers on TikTok, and I just had no idea how many adults were on TikTok at that point. It was 2020, and I was
Yeah.
on TikTok because my teenage daughter got me there. And I had no idea how many clients we would get from TikTok.
Yeah.
And it was just insane. I actually had to.
Hi there, just a quick little word from our sponsor. Now, as you know, I'm a small business owner and this is my small business, See My Curls. So basically, See My Curls, my small business, sponsors this channel. So if you have wavy hair, curly hair, coily hair, or locks, and you like to try some natural, handmade, and organic products, be sure to check out seemycurls.com.au. And I hope that will inspire you to continue your curly hair journey. Let me know how you go. You can either follow me on my See My Curls Instagram page, or you can follow me at my Instagram page as well for this channel. All right. Back to the podcast.
It was just insane. I actually had to. I was so overwhelmed by it all. My mobile number at that point was the only number we had for the business, and my phone just
Yeah,
never stopped. And so I actually had to outsource to a call center just to be able to receive the calls. So I was paying per call, but they would answer the phone, "Hi, you've called the Big Clean Co."
yeah.
But it was a call center, and they'd take the messages, and it was so overwhelming for me. I felt like
Wow.
I couldn't see the way out at that point. It was just so busy every day, and that's when
Mhm.
I knew I had to get an office and I had to get an admin person because it was just
Yeah,
too much for one person to handle anymore. Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely
yeah,
been seasonal times like that where things have grown really quickly. Just before Montana came in with For All, I felt like
yeah.
I would never stop packing a box. It was like this relentless, just every day packing boxes. The sound of the sticky tape, I'm still having nightmares over the packing. The sound of the packing tape, it
Poor
haunts
thing.
me because it was just never ending. But then you
Yes,
hire somebody and they come in and it eases up again. So
like that.
that's yeah, exactly. And
I
then you
love
forget all of
that.
that trauma and you do it all again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So you obviously had some, strategies in place to,
Yeah. Yeah.
solve the
That's
issue.
right.
So
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. So so you said about social media because
Mhm.
social media can be a real love-hate, relationship
Totally.
for small businesses.
Mhm.
And I'm, saying small businesses because it can be so overwhelming. They either
Mm.
love it or they hate it or they think, no, that's it. And I can really relate. I went through that process myself and I sort of went off, went back on it. I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness. And so were you very because you said your daughter helped you with that.
Yeah.
Good on her, being
Yeah.
young, very enthusiastic. She probably said, Mom, you give this
Yeah,
to
get
me.
on TikTok.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna do this.
Yeah. Exactly.
So did she basically help run the social
Yeah.
media aspect for you,
No,
or
she
did you
just
just dive in with her?
she showed me how to use TikTok. So I downloaded it on my phone
Yeah,
and I put up, I think my second video was the first one to go viral. But
yeah,
um with me and my relationship with social media, I have loved the internet since I first went on it when I was 17. I was
Yeah.
always an early adopter. So I had MySpace, then it went to Facebook, and then I actually started blogging. So I just would like blog my daily
Nice.
life for
Yeah.
in that was so maybe 2011, 2012, 2013. I was blogging.
Yeah.
There was no video, no one was really, there was YouTube, but
Yes.
no one was doing, real, there was nothing like that. So I was blogging on the internet, and then when Instagram started becoming bigger, I was posting on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I've always sort of adopted everything as soon as it comes out, and also just
Very
loved
good.
sharing stuff on the internet. I'm a bit of an oversharer on the internet. Like I said, I was blogging my daily life. So
Mm-hmm.
I look back on that, I'm a little bit, it's all closed down now, but I look back on some of it and I'm like, wow, did you share that
Ooh.
really? Yeah. So I think you can probably tell if you've watched my stories, like I was never into video. That was something I definitely had to practice to become comfortable at. But
Yeah.
now I have no problem holding the camera up and just chatting to all my internet friends.
Oh, well,
Yeah, but I can see, like, I know for a lot of people it is really difficult. Whereas for
yeah.
me, it just almost feels like something natural to just pick up my phone and start talking to everybody. So,
Yeah.
but it takes practice.
It
I was
does. It
terrified. Like
does.
this a couple of years ago, even doing this with you now would
Yeah.
have terrified me. I might have even said no to it a few years ago because I would have been
Mm-hmm.
so nervous about it. And I think
Yeah.
if you want to do that on the internet for your business, a lot of people don't want to put their face forward first. But
Yes.
if you think I could do that, you have to work at it every day. You just have to keep practicing. And you're always going to be embarrassed
Exactly.
by your first videos. Like I'm embarrassed about my blogs that I used to write for the internet. But I think you've got to remember that you're always going to be embarrassed by the first versions of what you do.
That's
So
right. Yeah.
just do it anyway.
Exactly. Just do it. You know, Nike, is it Nike? There's just do
Yeah,
it.
that's
So
right.
definitely do
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
So Casey, can you tell me about your I don't know, I guess the moment when you were, doing your big clean co and you thought, did you have that sort of light bulb moment where you're like, I think I can make a product that is actually going to work? Can
Yeah.
you take me back to that
Yeah.
day?
So I was doing the TikTok at the time, and in my business, we were using dishwashing liquid. Not any dishwashing liquid. We were using one specific commercial dishwashing liquid that you could buy, and I was using
Yeah,
that for every surface. And that features in all of my old videos.
yeah,
And um, I knew that it didn't exactly line up with. I don't like cleaning with gloves.
yeah,
And it didn't smell good. It's fluoro green. There were a few
yes,
things that I didn't like about it, and I knew that I could make it better. And I also found out, so this is before I decided to do For All, I found out how much water it contained. I think it's like
yeah.
85% water or something like that. So I was slowly
Wow.
finding out all these things about this one dishwashing liquid that I loved using.
Yeah,
And I was starting to think, could I make something better? And then it was
yeah,
with Chris, my partner, it was us, it was him who just said, you've just got to do it. We just have to find a manufacturer and just
yeah,
start the process. And so I think it was like one conversation one day, and then the next, maybe even the same day, we're Googling and calling the manufacturers. So we just moved really quickly on it from the idea,
yes,
but then
yeah,
had no idea how long it takes. And then I think it
yeah,
took 10 or 11 months from there before we were actually selling anything. It's such a big process, isn't it? As you would know, creating a product
yes,
is a very
yes.
long process, and there's so many
It
parts
is.
to it. Yeah,
That's right. Because, I guess this is a great way to go to the next sort of question is, some people might associate your success and say,
mm,
oh, Casey, you're so lucky, your business is doing so well. And of course, you will
mm.
be, in your mind going, hmm, I don't think it's luck.
Yeah, I'm glad I make it look that way because it sure doesn't feel that way.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a lot of,
I've had some other clean influencers on the internet
yes,
reach out to me, interested in starting their own cleaning product, and they've asked me about the process.
Yeah.
And I've just said to them exactly that. Like, it took 11
Yeah.
months, and I self-funded it. So when I first paid for my stock, you don't
Hmm.
see that stock for so many months in that first
Yeah.
product run, and
Yeah.
then you need to sell it. I mean, you're outlaying a large amount of money before even really sure that it's going to all sell, or all sell in a timely
Yes.
manner. So yeah, there's the risk involved, and
Hmm.
then just the sleepless nights when as you know, like when you're creating something new and
Yeah.
it's all you can think about while you're creating it, isn't it? It's just, I know
Yes.
I get when I'm doing that creative process, that
Yeah.
certainly consumes me. And
It
even
does.
my family have to
24/7.
say, they say, stop talking, stop talking about it. I don't know
Yes.
what else to talk about. It's all I'm thinking about at the moment.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is where I think the work-life balance.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a balance, but there
That's
really isn't.
right.
It's just sort
That's
of,
right. It's hard.
you
That's what
know,
I mean. It's like, for me, I feel like I've got this work-life balance, but I know that a lot of people would look at me and go, that's not work-life balance. Work-life
yeah,
balance is finishing at work at 5 p.m. on a Friday and then not thinking about work again until you get there at 9 a.m. on a Monday. That's
yeah,
work-life balance for a lot of people. But for me,
yes,
work-life balance is definitely working from a place of, like, I want to be doing this. So
yeah,
I'm not doing it because I feel forced to do it. It's because I want
yeah,
to. And then also taking those opportunities to have fun that's not work related. So having
yes,
fun with my kids, or I have hobbies. So, like, I've got horses. So riding my horses or playing basketball, I do these other
yeah,
things as well. But it
yeah.
certainly, work definitely does consume me a lot. It does. It
I
feels
am.
balanced to me.
Yes, I'm very, very glad to hear that you have other hobbies, because
Yeah.
seriously, if you're going to be like
Yeah.
working full on such a big
Yeah, that's
big
right.
small business like that, you really need a break. And recently, actually, I've just started playing Oz tag. I
Oztag,
know.
tell me about that.
Yes. Well,
What is
my
it?
daughter, who's also 15, she her some of her friends at school decided to play Oz tag. So instead of like tackling, so you throw the ball to each other on your team, and instead of being tackled, you actually you would have like a Velcro shorts type thing, and then you
I've seen
Velcro the
it.
tags to the
Yes,
side
my
of
kids play
your,
it.
yeah. I
So you
know.
play
So
this too?
I do.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so
So
fun.
I know. So I play with some of the older women, because I'm
Mhm.
not, that young. I look young,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
not, not in my 20s, not in my 30s. Anyway, I'll just leave it there. Goodness me, it's a lot of fun, and it really helps you to be in the moment, right? So
Yes,
instead of like thinking, okay, I
absolutely.
need inventory, I need this and that. No, you're going to be playing that game, because otherwise you're going to be like, yeah. So anyway, so it's good
Yeah,
having
I
a hobby.
agree, because 'cause I'm the same with basketball. When I'm playing
Yeah,
basketball, it's all I'm doing. But again, it's
yeah.
with the older ladies. Sometimes we play
Yes.
against the young ones. Sometimes we play against the young ones, but I don't wanna no, I just don't wanna go up against them.
No. Yeah.
But I
Too
just love
much.
that. Exactly. It puts you in the moment, doesn't it? It
Yes,
just,
it
you're not
does.
thinking about anything else, and
Yeah.
it's almost, some people meditate. I play
Yes.
basketball, you play Oz tag.
Yep, that's right. I'm
Yeah.
yet to be playing hockey next year, so I'm really
Oh,
pumped,
wow.
you know.
Mm, awesome.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, Kacie, you and your family, you really celebrate the small things and the big
Yeah,
things. Is that
yeah.
correct?
Totally, we do,
Yeah.
yes. And that was something we didn't do when we had the hospitality business. We didn't take a
Yeah.
moment to appreciate and celebrate the milestones. And so
Yeah.
I know it was just, it got to the burnout. So we
Yeah.
just, by the end of it, we were just completely ruined emotionally and physically. And
Yeah.
you can't live like that. It's so important to
No.
just take a moment every time something happens that takes you a step closer to your goals, or
Yeah.
um yeah, I love celebrating those things. I don't know if you saw, we did a sale a couple of weeks ago, and we
I did.
had our biggest week in one day. So it was just,
Congratulations.
I mean, all day I'm looking at my Shopify app going, oh my God,
Ching,
Oh my
ching,
God,
ching,
we
ching.
went out and we celebrated as a family. We went to
Yeah.
there's like an arcade center and we had dinner and we played darts and the kids played the arcade games, and it was so nice to actually celebrate something that we'd achieved that weekend, because
Mm,
otherwise you just go back into it and you're pushing all the time and you're pushing, 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 and what's it all for if you're
yeah,
not taking those moments to really enjoy it and celebrate?
exactly. And also your family, they are part of your business, right?
Yes,
So,
that's
they
right. Yes,
go through the hard
exactly.
times, the good
Yes.
times with you.
Mhm.
So you just have to.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
right.
well done.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So on that note, have you had some, because I think you mentioned about when COVID was on,
Yeah.
the pandemic, that
Mhm.
was a very, very hard
Mm.
time. Have you had like worse, or and
Yes.
if you had
Yes.
worse time, how did you
Yeah.
pick yourself up again?
Yeah, so that was the end of the hospitality business. So
Oh,
it
okay.
was devastating. It was
Yeah.
a really fantastic business. We had an investor in that business and there was a plan to grow to 20. It was like an American style diner. There was a plan
Yeah.
to grow to 20 stores by 2020. That was the goal. And because
Um,
Chris and I were at the time, we were just under 30, so we're in our 20s. So
yeah.
I feel like we just weren't equipped to deal with the very quick success that that business had early on. And
Yeah.
we both had, he had an escalating drug issue, and I at the time had an escalating alcohol problem. And
Yeah.
so when that business failed, and not because of the business itself, it was because of the two people that were running it, which was him and I.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, we just hit complete rock bottom. And like I said, separated for 3 years. And
Yeah.
when I moved out of our family home with the kids, I mean, he lost everything. So there was no house, there was no cars. We lost literally everything. It was complete financial ruin. And I
Yeah.
think I was more fortunate. I was able to walk away with just zero, whereas he walked away with bankruptcy. So for him,
Mm.
it was a very different experience for him certainly than for me.
Yeah.
But it was just devastating. It was so devastating, and I took a
Yeah.
few months to just heal myself. Um,
Yes.
I gave up alcohol. He eventually got clean, stopped all of his drug issues that he had. So we went on like a
Good
year
on you.
exactly, yeah. I think we're so fortunate that our family got back together, because you don't hear that story
Yes.
very often. Where
It's
and we have
very
just
rare.
the best relationship now, so
Yeah.
respectful, so loving. And I think that awakening for us was able to really help us understand that the family comes first,
Yeah.
always. There
Yes.
are times that the business is busy, but it's always the family first. And so I
Yeah.
think I learnt lessons then. I think I was 31 when I started the Big Clean Co.
Yeah.
I think I learned lessons then that I'm actually so grateful for learning, because a lot of
Yeah.
people don't learn that. And
No.
they get into their 60s and they've still got this business that they're, slaving away at. And
Yeah.
they sort of missed all those years of their kids growing up. So
Yeah.
it was a terrible time to go through, but it's
Oh.
made me have the life that I've got now, that's for sure. And the business I've got
Yeah.
now, I sort of credit it all to going through that. Yeah.
Well
Reprioritizing.
done.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is impressive, because the other question I was going to ask you as well was, what sort of things have you learned about yourself running your business? And
Yeah.
you've
That's
just
it.
basically
Yeah.
said it all.
Giving up alcohol. So I was just a nightly
Yeah.
wine drinker, but every night,
Yeah.
and way too much to be healthy. And giving up alcohol made me aware of behaviors in myself, um, my tendency to create almost stressful situations. Like I almost thrived
Hmm.
in these stressful situations. And
Yeah.
going through that process just made me much more aware of myself. And I think I'm
Hmm.
a much better person for the people who work in my business now.
Yeah.
They don't know what it was like before when I had the hospitality business, but I'm just a much nicer person to be working
Yeah.
working with now than I was then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think every
Wow.
business owner, even if they don't go through something so big as that,
That's
they
it.
should
Yeah,
still do a lot of work on themselves to it helps you improve how you are as a leader when you're
for
aware of
sure.
your own patterns, your own behaviors.
Yeah.
It's such an important part of running a business. Mm.
Wow, that is very, very inspiring. So very
Thanks.
good. Good, good,
Yeah.
you know, Australians would say good on you, mate. So good on you,
Yeah, that's right.
Kacie. Well done. So I'd just like to go to the time before you launch your product. Did you so you obviously did I don't know whether you did the website or you had somebody do the website for you. Can you remember that day when you were about to press launch, on
Yeah.
your
It's
your
terrifying. That
yeah,
was terrifying. I was terrified. I'd never packed an order. I didn't know how I was supposed to send them out.
yeah,
I realize now when Montana came into the business, she came from an e-commerce business. So she actually
okay,
improved a lot of our systems from how I was doing things. But that
yeah,
day, so I had all of the stock ready to go. And
hmm,
actually, my web developer,
yeah,
he turned the website on. And all of us, and I didn't know. I wasn't planning for it to be right then. And all of a sudden, I got
yes,
3 orders and I panicked and said, I'm not ready to do this. And then it was almost, I was ended up being grateful that happened because I don't think I ever
yes,
would have been ready. I don't know when I would have been ready for it. So it was
yeah,
accidental. It accidentally went live on the website and I went, oh, what the hell? 3 orders have come through. Let's just do it.
yeah. Just keep going with it. Wow. I
But
love that. I love that. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
that's right. I'm not ready for this, but it was done. And I was glad. It was like ripping off a Band-Aid. I
Yes,
don't know what
yes,
I was waiting for. I'm not sure. There
yeah,
was sort of a few days we had all the stock, the website was ready to go, but I was
yeah,
like, I don't know how I'm putting these in boxes. So it's actually we got our first orders, and then I
yeah,
went to the packing store and said, "You have to help me. I don't know how to send this." And they did. So that was lucky. I
so
find
good.
so many businesses are willing to help you when you.
Yeah,
So many suppliers are willing to help when you just say, "I've got no idea what I'm doing. Please help me."
yeah. Please help
Yeah, a
me
lot of
out.
people have been really helpful.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, it is I think it is a great problem to have, where you're like, oh my goodness, everything's just going so
Yeah,
well. Orders are coming in,
that's
I'm not ready. So I'm glad that, you
yeah.
had your you were very, very quick thinking and you got, things in place. So good
Mhm.
on you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'd like to hear a bit about how you, with reviews, for example,
Mhm,
when customers sort of, review your products and stuff.
mhm.
Can you tell me about one or two of your
Yeah.
favorite reviews that you've had?
Yeah, okay, so we just had one come through a few days ago, maybe a couple weeks
Mhm.
ago, that just
Yeah,
summed up everything that I would say myself that I wanted the product to be, which
yeah,
is that they were skeptical because they
yeah,
see this cleaning product shared everywhere, but, we've
yeah,
all seen cleaning products shared everywhere, and I
yeah,
I kind of love that everyone comes into it a little bit skeptical. So they mentioned
yes.
that they were skeptical and then they got it and it actually worked. And like those words
Oh,
are just exactly what I just want to hear from people, that it actually works
yeah.
because it's supposed to. It's amazing how many cleaning products don't actually work. It's like that's supposed to be the
No.
baseline, but it's not. And so they said it actually worked, that it had made cleaning more enjoyable for them.
Oh,
Again, just exactly what I wanted it to be, like I told you at the start of this.
yes.
And that they had bottled up some to give to family and friends.
Yeah,
Um, so nice. It just something Montana had mentioned to me. She'd worked in a couple of e-commerce businesses. A homeware store was one of them,
yeah,
and she said she'd never seen people love the product and the business as much as people love For All and
yeah,
things that I put out on the internet, the
yeah,
comments that I get, the messages from people. Somehow I think I've created a connection with so many people who I've been
yeah,
able to do that through the internet. I haven't met them in person, but
yeah.
it's like I've created this connection through this product and people just love it. And sometimes I get so overwhelmed by it when I read the
Oh,
things that people say. I just think I've just done exactly what I wanted to do, which was create this product
Success.
that people love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, but that is fantastic because I left a review and I was like, I could probably, have written half a page. I know, right? I could have done half a page, but
Yeah.
of course the space wasn't
Mhm.
there. And then I
Yep.
also read other people's comments as well, and I
Mm.
thought, yep, we're all
Yeah.
thinking on the same sort of notes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I guess sometimes like with that, you get some people who they either haven't used the product properly or they're
Mhm.
like, oh, I don't know, and then they leave a very negative review. How
Yeah.
have you,
Yeah.
dealt with that sort
Yeah.
of feedback? Because
So
it
the
can be very
main
hard.
so we use Trustpilot for our reviews, and when you
Yeah.
search our one-star reviews, they're almost
Mm-hmm.
all the same. They're all related to postage, and that was those
Mm-hmm.
early days when it was just me, and
Yeah.
sometimes there would be a lag. I wouldn't pack the orders up for 3 or 4 days, and then Australia Post would take this is sort of straight out of lockdown. We were in lockdown for so
Yeah.
long in Melbourne, so it was straight
Yeah.
out of lockdown. Australia Post were just so bad back then, and
Yes.
all of the one-star reviews really mentioned the postage. So when Montana came in, she interviewed in December last year. I think she started in
Yeah.
January of this year.
Yeah.
She just turned that around so quickly. She just had the orders going out within one business day, and so
Wow.
those reviews stopped. And occasionally we get people who'll write something like, it doesn't clean oven as good as, and they'll name another product. And I'm trying to make it clearer for people. This isn't a miracle product. Your
Yeah.
caustic, harsh chemicals, of course, they're
Yeah.
going to work faster, but
Yeah.
they're hazardous chemicals and they're bad for our health. So you sort of you can't have both. So for all can clean an oven, but it's never
Yeah.
going to clean it as well as those spray cans that you want to wear the mask and the goggles.
Yeah.
So it's really for people who are trying not to use those nasty chemicals. Or I say to
Yeah.
them, do your deep clean, get it done with the harsh chemicals, but then keep on top of
Yeah.
it with Floral. And then you don't have to use
That's
those
right.
chemicals again. But improving the instructions has been something I've just been trying to do recently, because I think that's where a lot of those the negative feedback comes from, is that people they don't understand exactly how to use it. And I just assume people are going to go and binge watch all of my videos and then
Yes.
you know how to clean because you just watched all
Yeah.
300 of my videos. But I can't expect people to
Exactly.
do that. And so teaching people through our new little dilutions cheat sheet that we've
Yes.
got.
I
uh,
love that.
yeah, and I'm going to try and do sort of a little video series that I can email out to our customers that just shows
Yeah.
me just cleaning a few different surfaces so people can get a feel for it, because cleaning, it
Yeah.
does require a little bit of skill. It's very
It
easy to
does.
use, but only once you know how to use it.
Yeah, yeah. And I also love the features that you listed that
Mhm,
for
mhm.
all can do is safe.
Yeah,
What is it?
right.
Is it's not harsh. What can
Yeah.
you tell me about some of the features
Yeah,
that you
so
sort of
septic tank safe was really important because where I
yes.
live in Melbourne is Harvey
Yeah.
Bay the same? There's a lot of septic tanks?
Well, yes, we
Yeah.
are on a property, so we have
Mhm.
septic tanks. So I looked at that, I was like, yep, perfect. I'm just going
Yeah,
to keep
yeah.
using this. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. And then, another really important thing for me was, you'd be surprised, a lot of dishwashing liquids are actually hazardous. And
Hmm.
if you have a child who accidentally, a little toddler who puts it in their mouth, you have to
Yeah.
call the poisons hotline. With For All, because it is not hazardous and it is non-toxic,
Yeah.
you don't have to call the poisons hotline. And
Yeah.
really, they say that you should just drink a little bit of water to dilute it in your body, but that it's not
Yeah.
going to make someone sick. So that was really important for me as well, because I thought, how can you
Yeah.
have cleaning products that are so accessible in your house to children,
Yeah.
but they're actually not
Yeah.
safe to be, and people can often think that they are, like the
Yeah.
dishwashing liquids. Other
Yes.
features we had was no synthetic fragrances. This was important because Synthetic fragrances, some of them have been known to be hormone disruptors. So I chose to put essential oils in it because
Yes.
they are therapeutic. There's therapeutic benefits to essential oils. So I know a lot of people don't like essential oils. I've actually got a no scent one coming out really soon. So I'm excited for that because I know there's a whole market of people who don't want scent in their products. So I'd love to be able to provide that. But yeah, just the no SLS was another important one. A lot of people can have skin reactions because I'm assuming like some people do clean with gloves, but a lot of us just don't. So
it's just
having
quick.
one mistake I made with the initial formulator was that they actually used a preservative in there that they didn't tell me about, and it was methylparaben. So our first 5,000 litres had a paraben in them. And when I found out, because cleaning products, you don't have to put all of the chemicals on the label. You don't have to put the ingredients. So when I found out that was in it, that was sort of my deal breaker with them. And that was why I immediately got the product reformulated because you can't use that in beauty products. I don't know if it's not that you can't, but you just shouldn't. Nothing should contain parabens in 2023. So putting a different preservative in there was really important for me. And also having that all listed on the label and on our website so that people can look up every ingredient and, see that these are safe ingredients to be using. That transparency.
Fantastic. Exactly. And I also love that because for my products, I also use essential oils and then or they are unscented. So when I was looking at your list,
so similar.
I know. She's my girl.
We're aligned with each other, aren't we? Yes, that's right.
We are.
I knew, and as soon as you sent an email, because I do get requests from people that I've said no to, but as soon as I looked at your page with your business, I just knew, we're aligned, aren't we, with our values, essentially.
Yes. I know. I think that was one of the reasons why I wanted to buy from you a few years ago. And then when I bought it and it worked, I was like, oh my goodness. And I wasn't even, my mind wasn't even on, doing this podcast at all. And like I said, when I thought, let me do this, and I was like, Kacie, and I'm like, oh, please, Kacie, please say yes. When you said yes, oh my goodness, I was just like over the moon. Yeah, because, cleaning products, hair care, skincare, or we really want, like I personally wanted for my family to, to be safe. So it is such a great product, and I can't rave enough about it. And that's why I thought, I need to have you here so I can tell other people.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So on that note, say you were starting your business this year, right? What sort of how would you have gone about starting it? Say, if you were starting your business this year, November the 2nd, what are some of the things that you would consider?
I would get help with For All sooner. I think I saw the Big Clean Co as my main business, and For All was almost a side hustle for me. And so I did a lot of it, which in retrospect, I should have had somebody helping me with it from the very beginning. Some of those problems that we had around slow postage and bottles being broken in the post as well, that would have been avoided if I had got that help. But I was treating it like a side hustle. And it's so funny because 2 years later, I'm having a bit of an identity crisis at the moment because I've always identified myself as Kacie from the Big Clean Co. But For All has now doubled in size from what the Big Clean Co is as a business. And more people know For All than they know the Big Clean Co, which is just his cleaning business in Melbourne. And so like Kacie from For All is becoming, I'm sort of moving into that role more so, and then letting the Big Clean Co be managed by Caitlin, who does that every day. But in retrospect, I would get help sooner. I'd invest in having that employee there who can help me have the issues, because disappointing customers around the postage problems that we had, I just wish I didn't do that. But fortunately, it wasn't too many customers, and most people loved the product once they got it. So they were willing to sort of let that go. But yeah, not trying to do everything myself for too long. That would be something that
Yes.
I would, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you think like, oh, but I'm going to save money by doing that myself. But
Yeah.
sometimes you need to pay that money for somebody
Source
else to
out.
do it, because you can then
Yeah.
do other things that like grow the business in different directions. Mm.
Yeah. Wow. I so I so relate to that, because I've sort of also started, see my curls also as a side hustle. And
Mhm.
so I was teaching full time, and it sort of came up because my daughter, being, she's Ghanaian, English and Welsh, and her hair was like really growing, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to do something. So basically my business started
Mhm.
accidentally, like it wasn't planned.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I definitely,
Mhm.
can relate how
Yeah.
you sort of need to be sourcing out, making
Mhm.
sure that you do what you can do, and what you can't do, you need to source it out, source out to other people who can help you. And I have to be honest, I think it took me a very long time to sort of do that. And
Mm.
I think with my teacher brain and teacher, perspective, I was like, I can do that. I can do that. So I
Yes.
did a lot of that. And I am, the past 2 years, I've been going for 10 years, but I sort of said, okay, Ruth, enough is enough. You need to source things out, to other people who can help you. So it is
Mm.
very, very good to hear that that is one of the things that you would do differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, Kacie, I think I've asked all the questions that I
Oh,
want to
good.
ask you. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you would like to, tell me about?
Yeah, I think I've shared a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've shared everything that I
Yeah.
would wanted to share, yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for having me.
Well, it's all right. My pleasure. And like I said, you are doing such an awesome,
I appreciate
awesome
it.
job. And I really thank you for wanting to talk to me. And I can't wait to let other people hear about your amazing story.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you one last question. Now,
Yep.
this is not really a question. It's more your advice or tip that you would like to give to my next guest. Now, you have no idea who my next guest is going to be. So basically, I want you to have like a word of inspiration.
Mhm.
Okay. And when I have my next guest, I'm going to tell them this is an inspirational word from Kacie, from the Big Clinko, or
Mm.
from
Yeah.
for Australia. So just to inspire them in their journey.
Is
So
it one word
what?
or is it a
No,
sentence?
it can be a
A sentence.
sentence, a
Yeah, good,
phrase,
okay. I know what I'll
yeah,
say.
whatever you like to inspire them with.
Yeah, definitely to be vulnerable, because I think some of the best parts of our conversation today have been the things that I've shared, very personal things about my history. And I think when you share from that place of vulnerability,
Yeah,
you have more to offer, more to inspire others with who might be going through difficulties or
yeah.
anything like that. So yeah, to be vulnerable would be my words of inspiration, words of advice.
Thank you so much, Kacie. And
You're
my
welcome.
next guest, I know who they are. They're going to
Yeah.
love it. So
Are they
thank you
good?
so much. Yes, yes, they're
Amazing.
definitely going to love
I
it.
can't wait
Thank
to
you.
see these videos and interviews come out. I will be listening to them. Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you. Now, on that note, I know you are everywhere. You're on Instagram. So where can people find you? Do you want to
Yeah.
tell me?
So currently it's Kacie underscore the Big Clean Co.
Yeah,
And I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I love
yeah,
Facebook actually. At the moment, I'm really loving Facebook. It's funny, people you read in the media that Facebook is on its way out, but actually I find
yes,
the engagement and the interaction on Facebook is actually so much higher than
it
any
is.
other platform. So I'm loving the
Mm,
conversations on Facebook. So and YouTube as well.
yeah.
I'm on YouTube. I think I've
And
said them all.
Spotify?
Did I? I'm on
Are you on
Spotify. I've got a
Spotify?
podcast,
Yes.
of course. I've forgotten. I've
Yeah.
done a few episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So I'll
might change my
definitely,
handle at some point, as I said, with the identity crisis I'm having, because it's
yeah.
Kacie at the Big Clean Co, but that might
Yeah.
change in the future, but for now that's what it is.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll put all
Thank
the
you.
links below for
Perfect.
people and so then they can find you and follow you and support you as well.
Amazing. Thank you
So
so much,
once
Ruth.
again, Kacie, thank you so much. You have an awesome day and I'll be seeing you on social media.
Beautiful. Bye.
Okay,
See you.
bye.